As we know from chapter 1076, a clash between Kid and Shanks is on the horizon. A few months back, we got Law versus Blackbeard, which caught everyone by surprise. Even though Blackbeard is also an emperor, the fact that he only had some of his crew made it seem like Law at least had a chance to defeat Blackbeard. At the very least, he should be able to escape, right? Everyone thought that. If you didn't, well, I guess you're not everyone. But this scenario is very, very different. Kid has his entire crew, but Shanks also has his entire crew, plus an army of giants, plus a high-level allied bunch of pirate crews with him, right? So, does Kid have any hope? No, probably not. But I want to talk about that tiny, minuscule sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, he can get out of this alive, or at the very least, put up a decent fight. Or even maybe, just win. He might be able to beat red-haired Shanks. Maybe, right? So let's start off with the fact that Shanks says, "Can't tell if this is the best timing or the worst timing." Meaning that there is a chance he is not mentally or physically prepared to battle. If his mind is on something else, he might not be on his A game. Also, the fact that he is calling for Dory and Brogy and putting them in any sort of danger at all definitely implies that he highly respects Kid and his crew as combatants. They did fight once before, but that was pre-Wano. And if we assume the Kid pirates improved relative to how much the Straw Hats improved, we know that the Kid pirates are slowly reaching that Yonko level power of a crew, right? And they are not to be taken lightly. Kid was able to go toe-to-toe with Big Mom for many moments of their fight, and he's surely gotten much stronger since then, thanks to Haki blooming and things like that. So we know that Shanks sees Kid as a threat. That is a fact. Is it solely because Kid played a role in defeating Big Mom and Kaido? Or did Ben Beckman have a tough time fighting Kid as well? We got confirmation it was actually Ben Beckman who cut off Kid's arm, but I highly doubt it was a low diff fight. Maybe his fight with Beckman actually pushed Beckman so far that he had to warn Shanks to watch out for somebody like Kid. Like, hey, Shanks, watch out for this Kid guy. He's got magnets. Next, Kid is a confirmed Conqueror's Haki user. That is also a fact. Maybe this is where his Conqueror's Haki is unleashed and he is able to knock out most of Shanks' allies, except for maybe his top commanders. I could see something like this happening, right? This is the most probable thing that should happen in their battle because there needs to be a way to make this more fair, right? This has to be a more fair fight, and we have to even the numbers situation a little bit. Right now, Kid is severely outmanned, and he needs any advantage he can get. Unlocking some of his Conqueror's Haki abilities will be crucial to even the odds a little bit. Something else that could give Kid a slight advantage is the fact that the land of Elbaf consists of many giant warriors. And these warriors typically wield massive weapons like swords, giant war hammers, enormous battle axes, right? And what are these things made of? That's right. They're made of metal, baby. There is a chance Kid will use his magnetism to create his most powerful metal manifestation to date, and he will use that to cause some serious damage. The only con with this is that I feel Shanks is going to be one of the fastest characters we've seen, right? And usually these giant robot or giant monster last resort type of enemies don't do well against a speedy target. And honestly, that's not the fight I'm trying to see, but maybe this will be enough to kind of take out everybody but Shanks, and then Shanks has to, it's more of a one-on-one situation. But, that is a possibility, and maybe this giant mechanized monstrosity might even cause some damage to Shanks, which would be pretty epic. Next, if we go off of bounties alone, KIDD is very close to Shanks. And if we take age into account, KIDD is actually doing much better than Shanks in terms of notoriety. If we look back at when Shanks was his age, power level wise, they were probably relative, maybe, we're not sure. I'm willing to bet now, though, that KIDD now at 23 years old would give a 23-year-old Shanks a run for his money. That is certain. But since we are in the present and Shanks is about 40 years old, he is obviously more experienced. He's been in much more high-level battles, and his hockey mastery seems that it could be the highest in all of One Piece, making it a very tough matchup for Mr. Captain KIDD, along with Shanks having home field advantage and a ton of allies on the island, ready to lay down their lives to defend Shanks. It's not looking so great for Mr. Captain KIDD. But if we take some of these facts into account, like Shanks not being prepared for a high-level battle, whether it be physical or mentally, he had to have made that comment for a reason, right? I feel that he's not on his A game, but maybe his B game is enough to take out KIDD, right? So we also know that KIDD's Conqueror's Haki is very likely to bloom in this battle, and the fact that this island probably has more metal than most, probably any other island in the world besides Egghead maybe, he's got to use that to his advantage, right? KIDD could pull something off and maybe push Shanks into a high difficulty fight. We also need to recognize Killer as KIDD's right hand, as a high level combatant, right? He's going to be crucial to them putting up a fight. He should also be able to stalemate at least one of Shanks' commanders. Maybe not Ben Beckman, but maybe he could give Lucky Roo or Yasop a run for their money, right? I could see Oda surprising us, though. Maybe they don't end up fighting after all. Maybe they just have a drink. Or maybe Shanks does a trade with him and gives him something in return for the poneglyph. Maybe information that would be very valuable to someone like KIDD. Maybe we get KIDD's origin story or something like that. Or maybe they have a Davy back fight and Shanks takes Killer from KIDD, hear me out, and then Luffy has to come and Davy back fight Shanks to get Killer back. That would be pretty epic and a poetic, in a poetic way, it makes a lot of sense. The first time they fought, Shanks took KIDD's left arm, literally. Now, this time, Shanks could take his right arm, or better yet, his right hand, in the name of Killer. The right hand of KIDD and his best friend and first mate, yada yada yada. It will be up to Luffy to swoop in and get him back to KIDD, therefore having KIDD finally submit to Luffy and become part of his alliance officially. Luffy being able to make Conqueror submit seems like something only he should be able to do. Not even Kaido could do it. I could see this all happening in some way. Makes a lot of sense, right? But we just gotta see what happens. Lastly, something else I could see in this fight is it being cut short by King Loki of Elbaf. Maybe King Loki sees the battle happening and it is causing massive damage on Elbaf, so he intervenes, putting a halt to this epic battle of Yonko level proportions, giving us many positives, right? This scenario is pretty cool because we finally get to see what Loki looks like and his relationship to Shanks. And on top of that, we also don't have to watch KIDD take another L if this happens. So I'd say that's a win-win. What do you guys think? Do you think KIDD can somehow get a W? Let me know in the comments and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. Take care, guys.